Hey guys, welcome back to BoreDraw, episode 5.
Let's go. We're talking.
There's a lot that's happened since the last time we spoke. I mean, because we've done the conspiracy
It could have been
episode.
a very potentially dry week, but there's been some transfers.
There's
quite a lot going on.
There's always stuff going on in the world of football.
There is.
Even if it is the Belarusian second league, there's stuff going on.
League going.
That's my favourite betting league, I think. Yeah, that and like the Libyan league or something like that.
You brought it up though. I hope everyone enjoyed the conspiracy episode. There was a couple of little sus moments in there.
Yeah,
but
did you see? No, we had a good reception to that. But I guess we can do something similar in the near future. I mean, there might be some conspiracies coming up in the new Premier League season.
Exactly that. But now we're talking more here and now.
Stuff that's happened in the last week or so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've got to start with the big ones. The Brazilian boys in the Premier League.
Yeah, let's talk about the one that is kill confirmed at the moment.
Salvation.
Richarlison to Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus.
What's your opinions?
Jesus is almost kill confirmed.
Yeah, Jesus is the other one. I was hoping he's been pictured in an Arsenal top. He's had his medical. He's been pictured at London Colney. He's been like, and this is for about a week, and it still hasn't been announced. So they've got me. My ankles are absolutely gone.
Could you imagine just a 180 and goes to Spurs?
I'm not even bantering you. I tweeted this morning, "Happy Gabriel Jesus Day."
Yeah, I saw.
And he's not even been announced yet. That's embarrassing. But we'll talk about him in a bit. Let's talk about Richarlison to Spurs.
60 million.
What's your opinion?
I think that Richarlison is a player who is rated by Everton fans.
Yeah.
And neutrals either love him or they hate him.
He's a massive cunt, I think. Oh, sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that. His attitude is like a good work attitude, but he's just
a bit of a bastard player.
He's like a bit of a Wilf Zaha kind of vibe. Like, you'd love him on your team, you'd hate him against you.
I think I rate him. I think there's a reason why he starts for Brazil in that stacked Brazil squad.
Yeah.
I think for 60 million in this market, he could have done a lot worse. I think I
agree. You could have done worse. Obviously, it's the Prem to Prem kind of bump up the price kind of vibe.
I mean, Brazilian players as well always get a big price tag.
And he is Everton's star man, so they're not going to lose him for
star man. That's
if Everton went down, maybe it'd be less.
I think both clubs would, and both sets of fans will be happy with the deal, because for Spurs they're actually spending money.
Yeah.
Like, Daniel Levy's actually opened the pockets. I've seen fans tweeting that he's going to have nosebleeds all night.
Yeah.
He's going to wake up crying, wishing it was a nightmare. But
tremors.
I mean, and I think Everton, to get 60 million for him in the position that they're in, is good.
Classic Everton. Watch them go splash it on just the worst signings.
They're going to get Dele Alli's twin brother, innit?
Oh, Dele Alli, he's moving.
Yeah,
but
I just think that both sets of fans will be happy.
Yeah.
I think he's a player. His stats aren't fantastic, but he is an important player.
For me,
you got to think about the team he's been playing in, though. Last season, he scored 1 in 3 for a really poor Everton side with just a lack of creativity.
For me, he is one of those players where I don't think I rate him that much, but whenever I watch a game, he is always the guy that's making something happen.
In every Everton game last season, he was almost the best player on the pitch.
Yeah, 100%. And that's always a good thing. And I think, as much as I don't like Spurs, the reason I think it's a good signing is that, for me, he can play anywhere across that front three. So he can
play the central role, or
he can play the central if Harry Kane needs a rest. He can play out either side if, I don't know if he starts ahead of Kulusevski or if he rotates with Kulusevski, rotates with Son. But for me, the fact that he can slot into the front three in any position and also just cover, the versatility is huge. I think, and to have that, I think obviously 60 mil is expensive.
So just some stats for Richarlison. He played 172 games in the Premier League, 48 goals, 18 assists. So,
which doesn't sound like a lot, but he's played for a terrible Watford team
and a mediocre to poor Everton team. Yeah. But like you say, he is a player that will score goals for Spurs. Yeah. Like, there's no chance about it. They will create chances. He put it away. He is a talented player, and he's not old either.
No, he's young. And obviously so is Kulusevski, so there's potential for development there. And under Conte, you can see him kind of kicking on to the next level. Cause I think in there is definite,
it's a star
world class player, but there's definite
could be
verging on kind of.
I mean, do you play for Brazil without being world class?
That's true. Yeah,
it depends what your definition of world class is. So, but I mean, let's just talk about how this will play out for Spurs, because obviously, how do you fit him, Son, Kane, Kulusevski, Who else we got?
Up top. Yeah, I think it is just mainly them four. Maybe Lucas Moura and Bergwijn.
Lucas Moura, yeah.
I don't know. They're probably both going to go. But
yeah, I mean,
for me, the Harry Kane and Son are 30s up top. And
so do you just go to play in a 3?
Yeah, you rotate.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard shouts of people saying play Son in behind Kane. But what if you play Kane in more of like an attacking midfield centre forward role, like a deep line centre forward,
and then
because he loves coming deep anyway.
You could play Richarlison and Son ahead of him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you play him as that like front pivot almost, and then he can play deep,
like a Dennis Bergkamp,
arrive late into the box
because he can kind of very he's very aware. His football IQ is very high, and I think that was why Dennis Bergkamp was so good. His football IQ was so high. So if you play him like Dennis Bergkamp had Thierry Henry to just always find the run. Him. And yeah, if they did that with Richarlison and so on, that'd be naughty.
Yeah, I'd like to see that tried out. To be honest, I think Harry Kane's passing ability is unbelievable.
And if they keep playing the 3 at the back with wing backs, you don't need the width because you've got the width from the wing backs, and you can play the 2 with Harry Kane behind, which would be quite nice.
On the flip side, what does this mean for Everton? They've lost a player who scores a lot of important goals for them.
Relegation.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin needs to have. This is a make or break season for him because he had
a breakthrough season where he got in the England squad. Blah blah blah. Obviously, he was very injured last season, but even when he came back, he looked shit.
He just wasn't the player that we saw the previous season.
So
and maybe that is a result of injuries, but this season will be very telling.
Yeah,
because if he can't reproduce the form he showed in that initial season, then they have problems. And Everton, where the goal's going to come from?
Yeah.
They've been linked with Conor Gallagher.
Gordon. Oh, have they?
They've been linked with Conor Gallagher.
I assume Frank Lampard likes him from his time at Chelsea.
I mean, what's Dele Alli going to do?
Dele Alli, I think, is dusted.
He might
his head just looks completely out of the game.
He might as well just retire and go on Love Island.
I swear down, him and Ben White, Love Island boys. But yeah, I just don't think his head's in it. Like either he's lost his love for football or just has too much money now to not even care.
Before we move on to the salvation that Jesus is going to lead to Arsenal, should we talk about the other Brazilian player beginning with R? Big Raf?
Rosario Proni.
That's Brazilian, man. What?
Come on.
Big Rafinha. Yeah, Chelsea, perhaps. Barcelona, so, who knows?
When he first got linked to Arsenal, and at that point, I think it was Arsenal and Barcelona were the first 2 linked with him. I saw a tweet from a guy that was like in the know, but how in the know is in the know these days, nobody knows.
Everyone's got in the know.
Exactly.
Account. Yeah, you should put ITK at the end of your Twitter.
Legit. So he did say, in all fairness to him, he was like, "This is going to be the most drawn out saga of the summer," and I can't. Yeah,
he's waiting for Barcelona.
Exactly that.
But Barcelona don't have money, or do they? No one really knows.
Yeah, they're fucked, aren't they?
Did you see they sold the rights to
their TV rights,
for 25 years for it was pennies.
Yeah, they're so poorly run. They're gonna either run themselves into the ground or
no. But the thing is, they are too big to run themselves into the ground. There will always be a way out for them because they just have that sort of backing.
Yeah.
But
anyway, like you're saying, so his dream move is Barcelona. He's had his personal terms with them agreed since mid last season. It was pretty much if Barcelona could afford him, he was going there, or if Leeds got relegated, he had a release clause that Barcelona could afford. So
I bet he's got it that they didn't get relegated.
Yeah, maybe that's why he absolutely turned it off for the last 10 games of the season. He was like, "Oh, maybe I'll get my dream move."
So he is waiting for his Barcelona.
Yeah. So Barcelona currently can't afford him. So Arsenal went in with a couple of bids. I think it was a 35 million bid and then 45 million bid. Leeds are holding out for 65
million.
And so Arsenal kind of stopped at 45, and then Chelsea came in with a straight 60, or I think it was 60 million plus add-on to get it to 65.
Yeah.
And Leeds accepted that, but
Rafinha
Rafinha
still holding out for Barcelona.
Stalling, and Deco, Rafinha's agent, has gone back to Barcelona and been like, "Well,
you need to make up your mind now.
We're going to take this if you don't fuck up your ideas."
If he doesn't, the longer he draws it out, the less preseason he has.
Yeah.
But
there are rumours that Barcelona are finding the way to get money.
Well, Barcelona are flogging off some young talents for cheap, and
I think it is going to happen. And then as a Chelsea fan, I'm not a Chelsea fan, but if you were a Chelsea fan, would you want another Donny that doesn't really want to join you in your team?
I mean, you look at Chelsea, right? So they've got Werner and Havertz. Havertz will probably play as their main striker unless they get someone in. Then you've got players like Pulisic, injury prone.
Yeah.
Ziyech, injury prone, hasn't really shown up.
Yeah.
You've got Mount, you've got Hudson-Odoi. You've got like these players that can play in like Rafinha's position anyway. Like, do you really need him? Is he going to be the player that really takes you closer to Man City, Liverpool?
He is definitely a level up from the likes of Hudson-Odoi, Ziyech, Pulisic. I think he's definitely a level up from them. But after the Lukaku saga,
you just rattled like the entire fan base of America. Pulisic is the LeBron James of football, no?
LeBron James. But what was I going to say? Rafinha, he's definitely a level up. But after the Lukaku saga, would you want a player that comes, first opportunity to do an interview, he's twerking for Barcelona? Like that, this just doesn't go down well.
Yeah, I
think Chelsea need players that want to play for Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, does anyone want to play for Chelsea though? That's a real question.
That is the money question.
I mean, to be fair, Chelsea are in a very weird place at the minute, obviously, with the new takeover. And
from what it looks like, though, the owner does look like he wants to make an impression.
They were linked with bloody Ronaldo, mate.
Yeah, I think they've put in like an inquiry for Neymar.
I would love to see that.
I want to see Neymar.
I mean, I don't like Chelsea. I don't, I'm a QPR fan. I don't like Chelsea.
Yeah.
But to see Neymar in the Premier League, fair enough, whatever, I'll take it.
Just to see like the tech.
Because if he flops, then I can be like,
we can go see him live.
Go see him live, BoreDraw Chelsea.
But so the Rafinha side is a bit of a weird one. In my opinion, he's just holding out for Barcelona, and they will get him, even if it's like holding out until like the last week of the window. I think he is set on that Barcelona move.
Yeah,
I think Chelsea will
I think Leeds will realise they'll have a player that they can't get rid of then.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if he's the type of player that wouldn't play or he would want to play. Cause I assume with the World Cup coming up,
you want to be
you want to be playing any week. But I mean, you don't want to play there. It's just negative for the dressing room. It's not good for anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Like for me, I think if you're Chelsea, get Raheem Sterling. You've been linked with him. It looks like that could happen. I think for Chelsea, he's a better signing than Rafinha.
You got someone who's going to get you goals from that position.
And like you said, Rafinha is predominantly right wing, so he'll take Mount's spot, whereas Sterling, you can play left wing, and then it's Mount, Sterling with Havertz up top. I like that.
Yeah, I think, or they might even just play like, because he likes to play that sort of 3 centre-backs, 2 wide men, and then like Jorginho or like Kante in the middle, and then he plays 2 behind the striker as well. So it's almost like a 3-4-2-1.
Nice.
Like, does that work?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
It does.
Yeah,
but he plays like this really weird sort of like W shape.
Yeah.
With like a really sharp point through the middle. Last but not least,
the final Brazilian. Jesus Christ himself.
The Lord.
Come on.
Jesus.
So, Arsenal pretty much signed Gabriel Jesus.
I'm pretty sure by the time this podcast comes out,
you bloody hope by the time this podcast comes out, he's been announced. Because, like I was saying earlier, he's been pictured in the ground. He's been pictured in the training ground.
He's been coming out of cars with Edu.
The fucking Arsenal shop online for a period of time, you could buy his shirt. So they must.
They've done that with the other Donny as well.
Yeah,
didn't they?
Fabio Vieira, same issue. I don't know. It's a shambles in the old media department.
I mean, but on the basis of it, exciting times for Arsenal.
For me, I'm very excited. I rated Gabriel Jesus when he first signed for City. I was like, he is going to be a star, and I think the problem for him when he first signed for City was like, he's the Aguero replacement, and that's always hard. Like that's why Ferran Torres has struggled. Everyone's trying to like live up to this Aguero kind of status, and obviously Aguero is a freak, and it's going to be hard. Haaland will probably do it, but
Haaland will do his own thing.
But like Gabriel Jesus, I've always thought his work ethic's sick.
Yeah.
His hold-up play he's not like the biggest lad, but he's strong and he can run the lines, and that's what I think Arteta's looking for in a player, is someone that's got high enthusiasm, work rate, and then someone whose hold-up play is good, but is fast enough to hold it up, which was what Lacazette was good at, the hold-up play. But then Lacazette's legs are just made of absolute treacle, and he couldn't get into the box. Whereas Gabriel Jesus is strong and fast enough to hold it up and then ping it off to someone like Odegaard, Saka, blah, blah, and then get himself back in the box. 3 behind him
are goal scorers and creative players. Exciting times. I mean, so Gabriel Jesus has got 236 appearances,
Nice.
95 goals, and 46 assists for City.
Blood clot.
Which is...
He's going to get 100 goals.
That is an impressive record. And, I mean,
obviously,
there's a reason why Pep Guardiola, even when he wasn't having the best goal scoring form, there's a reason why Pep Guardiola would keep him in the squad and keep playing him. And
for me, just on his stats, it's kind of like the direct opposite to Richarlison, isn't it? In the fact that he's been in like an OP team his whole time.
Yeah.
So his are probably skewed a little bit higher, whereas Richarlison's are skewed a bit lower. But obviously, I'm going to say... I've seen so many things on Twitter about who's a better player, Richarlison, Gabriel Jesus.
Different
For
players.
me, it is Gabriel Jesus.
I agree.
I think he has more strings in his bow. He's got better kind of play, kind of intricate play between players.
Richarlison's very direct.
Yeah, Richarlison
and he
probably is like a better finisher.
And he's a more selfish player, though.
Yeah, he's a better finisher, I'd say, Richarlison. But I think his team ethic, Gabriel Jesus' team ethic, his hold-up play is better. And I think just his... they both got the ability to play anywhere across the front three. But I think
Gabriel Jesus had a better goal conversion from expected goals last season, since his debut, than 80% of Premier League strikers that scored like 5 or more goals.
I think he's like 5th in the all-time list for like goals per minute.
Yeah.
I think he's like behind like Henry, Aguero, and a couple of other dons. Because he plays a lot, and like you were saying, there's a reason Pep Guardiola always seems to play him. And I think this is what will be good for Arsenal, because we don't have a lot of these at the moment. Players that show up in big games.
That's what I was about to say. So
he is a big game player.
Even last season, right? He started the 2 games against Chelsea and Liverpool early on. Scored at Stamford Bridge, and then got the assist for Foden at Anfield. Then he was injured just by turning the new year, and he was out for 3 months. And then he scored the opening goal against Liverpool. What was the opening goal? It was one of the goals. He scored against Liverpool anyway.
Yeah, he scored one where he could turn in the box. His
work rate is incredible. And another thing which is going to be great for Arsenal is his flexibility.
Yeah,
because he can play that through the middle, that central striker role, which I think is where he will play for Arsenal 95% of the time. But if the Arsenal are struggling with an injury crisis,
we've got Europa League as well this season. So we've got more games.
If Nketiah is getting game time or whatever, he said in an interview that he went to Pep Guardiola and said, "I want to play on the right wing."
Yeah, he prefers playing right wing,
and that he prefers it.
Yeah,
and so that is another, like you say, he's got lots of strings in his bow. He has a great tool set, which is probably what brings him above players like Richarlison, because he is far more flexible and far more adaptable to the positions. And I think this is going to be great for Arsenal, because they've got themselves a goal scorer, but they've got them someone who can really meld themselves with players like Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, and play that creative, fast-paced football
quite nicely.
And there will probably be times where Arsenal, much like Liverpool and City, have like a very dynamic front three.
Yeah.
Where they can all play each other's positions, because the
only way you confuse your opposition defence is if you're moving around on the pitch and you don't stay stagnant, and then a player can be like, he's my man, I'll stay there. If you're moving, a player doesn't know, do I track him? Do I stay in my position? And that's where football's going. You want to,
and that's what he's just incredibly smart, intelligent footballer. And I think if you're an Arsenal fan right now, you don't need Gabriel Jesus to get 25 goals.
It'd be nice,
because in players like Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, Smith Rowe, you have players that can easily get more than 10 goals.
Yeah, for me, if everyone's chipping in about 10 to 15, and then he gets 15 to 20,
I mean, if you get if any of your 3 attacking midfielders get 15 goals, you're already laughing.
Well, Saka got 13 last season.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see. I mean, obviously the goal distribution is not going to be. It'll probably be more spread this season.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a big season. I was going to say something about Gabriel Jesus, so completely slipped. Oh, his price. I think it is 40 million or 45 million.
With add-ons, isn't it?
Yeah, with add-ons.
I think, because
I think it's something to do with, if we get Champions League football, they get like a chunky bit. But 45 mil, I think is a very good signing for me.
100%.
Yeah, for me, it's a very good signing.
Just very briefly, because we're going to cover this in more detail in the upcoming episodes when we start doing our season previews. but do Arsenal have to get Champions League this season?
Oh, 100%.
Is there any room for error, or is Arteta gone?
It's Champions League or bust.
But do you think, like, this is another thing we can talk about, do you think Arsenal have had a better transfer window than Spurs?
So far, who have we signed? We signed Fabio Vieira, we signed Marquinhos, we signed Matt Turner, and we signed... Oh, gonna sign Gabriel Jesus.
You're getting Saliba back on loan
and
as well.
Saliba, like a new signing. That'll be nice.
And
I'd say it's probably neck and neck at the moment.
Yeah.
For me, Fraser Forster is just like a backup. That's like a bit of a nothing signing. Matt Turner's the same, but he's younger.
Yeah.
So, but they're both backup signings.
Spurs are linked with Jed Spence as well.
Yeah, I think they'll sign Jed Spence, and that'll be a good signing for them. Fabio Vieira, I think, is a very good signing for Arsenal. I'm obviously going to be like that. But Gabriel Jesus, I also agree. Marquinhos is kind of like when we signed Martinelli, just a young Brazilian unknown talent. I think the plan is Arteta's going to...
invest in Brazilians.
Yeah. I don't know, well, that's like Edu, isn't it? Edu's the guy. But Marquinhos is going to come, do pre-season. They'll probably see what he's like. If he needs a loan, he'll go out for loan. But like that's what Martinelli done. The plan was to loan him out. And then he impressed so much in pre-season that they kept him in. So yeah, it's up to him. But I'd say out of all the Prem teams,
top two at the minute.
Top two, Spurs and Arsenal in the window.
Like obviously, you say City have got Haaland.
That's true.
But like City and Nunes got Liverpool got Nunes, but those teams were already
stacked.
They're miles above the competition. So like they don't need to have.
They're
competing with each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get.
They're competing with each other, and I think. I mean.
Well,
Liverpool could really struggle this season without Mane. Like that's a lot of goals and a lot of assists.
Well, while we're on City and Liverpool, what one should we talk about first? We'll talk about Liverpool first. Mohamed Salah,
big contract.
Yeah, so he was entering his last year of his contract.
Yeah,
and there was rumours that he was looking at La Liga because he wasn't going to get enough money. But today, he signed a new deal.
Enough money. He's on like 400 grand a week. What's he on about? Enough money, man.
So so he wasn't. There was no chat really about him signing a new contract, like in the media, but Bosch,
I think
he signed it.
Obviously,
2025.
Salah is one of the top, like 0.001% players.
Top three
in
player in the Prem, probably best player in the Prem.
Best player in the Prem. Him and De Bruyne are probably neck and neck. But I mean, like
they're both about the same age, aren't they? He's like 30.
Yeah, unreal player. But he didn't have a great end to last season.
No, he did stink it up.
After African Cup of Nations, he did really struggle. And it just looked like nothing was really coming out from working for him. The beginning of the season is going to be really important for him.
Yeah. He needs to start the season strong.
He needs to start it strong. Otherwise, people will start to ask questions.
He normally does start the season strong.
I mean,
little fantasy gem for you. I swear he gets a hat trick literally every first game.
They got Fulham the first game of the season.
Yeah. Oh well, that's probably why he always gets a fucking
because Liverpool
naughty start. Because Liverpool always get a just promoted team to start the season.
So Liverpool 6, Fulham 0, Nunes hat trick, and Salah hat trick. Yep. But yeah, it is really important that he starts strong.
Yeah.
But I think maybe bringing in Nunes and having a player that is more of a striker and more of a focal point
will be helpful.
Will sort of release, like let Salah play a bit more creatively than having to be that direct runner.
Yeah, because I think the issue he was kind of facing was that towards the end of the season, he was the player that was most far forward and the defence would concentrate on him. But if you've got Nunes that's the most far forward,
playing that target man sort of.
And then it's kind of like what we're saying about Spurs with Harry Kane. If Nunes drops a bit further back, then Salah and whoever's on the other wing, Luis Diaz, and spinning around the back. It
causes the defenders, especially the central defenders, to make a decision whether they follow the man and play tight to him.
Exactly, yeah.
And then that breaks that offside, that defensive line, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it allows room for Salah and Diaz to move through, even Jota as well. What was
the other big team in the league? Man City. We were talking about
Julian Alvarez.
Yeah, I quite like the look of him. He gives me like young Gabriel Jesus vibes, or young Aguero vibes. Yeah, just like a young South American that his stats in South America are
just cracked. Yeah.
And while we're on City, Calvin Phillips allegedly today had his medical.
Yeah, what's
your opinion on Calvin Phillips?
I don't know about this one.
The move to City.
Before the World Cup, I was like, I don't like Calvin Phillips. He got mugged by Eze at Loftus Road, and at Ellen Road just absolutely made a fool. he has improved tenfold.
He had a very good World Cup.
He was England's best player at World Cup, or one of them.
Yeah.
He was England's player of the year.
The Euros, what are we on about?
Yeah. There is a player there, and I just don't know what role he's going to facilitate at Man City, because
is he? Yeah, because for me, you don't play him and Rodri.
You don't play him and Rodri. I don't understand the games where you'd play him over Rodri.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
is he
don't play them
just
two
bench
together?
fodder?
Yeah, so he. Yeah, exactly
Is
that.
he just there to piss around with Carl Walker and Grealish and get a Premier League
boys,
medal at the end of the season?
Get a free. I
don't know, but like he is a serious player. He's probably a bit more aggressive in his defensive play than Rodri.
Yeah, I was going to say he's not a better player than Rodri, but maybe. Obviously, they have a lot of games a season, Liverpool and City, because they go like all the way in every competition. So maybe it's worthwhile having two like elite level.
I mean, they lose Fernandinho,
and they've lost Fernandinho,
which is a big loss. That's their like captain, and he is a sort of like the nastiest player in their team.
Yeah,
he is the tactical fouler. Yeah. Like he knows the dark arts.
Yeah, so does Rodri.
I don't know about Phillips, and I hope he does well, because I want him to do well for the sake of England.
And another thing, the £50 million price tag. That's
a lot of money.
It's a lot of obviously City got money
tax
to burn, but like you want to try and kind of dilute the stigma that you're a team that just has unlimited money. I mean, and you're not doing that when you sign £100 million Grealish to sit on the bench. That's £50 million Calvin Phillips to sit on the bench.
I mean, it is good for England that we've got a team where they've got Sterling for the minute, but they've got Sterling, Foden, Grealish,
and also
Walker,
these players,
Stones,
obviously
Phillips.
all play for England and getting coached by the best manager in the world, Gareth Southgate,
apart from Michael Beale.
But yeah, it's good that England's like core squad are getting coached by Pep Guardiola.
I mean, the only thing is, though, they're going to go from playing this tiki-taka football to playing Gareth's fucking defensive, conservative, lump it forward.
True. They probably arrive at the England camp and they're like, fuck.
They're going to be doing training drills, rinsing the other players and then getting benched.
Yeah. That's probably why. They probably bitch about how like shit the training sessions are and how Pep's doing like, bow, 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 bow. Yeah. And they're like, what the hell is this shit? And then Gareth overhears and was like, nah, fuck you.
Gareth should watch the Man City documentary.
Yeah.
Speaking of documentary, you've got the Arsenal one coming out. That's going to be a banger.
They did the little trailer and that looked emotional damage.
Yeah. No, it's going to be...
I was excited for it until like the last couple of weeks of the season where we bottled it. So I might just watch it up until kind of like the last episode and then just not watch it anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, that'll be a good laugh. We could do like a little live watch.
We'll do a watch along.
Yeah, that'd be good. We'll do that. Watch me cry on.
Yeah, just watch you cry. Getting rattled by Amazon. Is it Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon.
It's Amazon. Yeah.
Talking about crying and rattling a whole fan base. Lukaku's back to Inter Milan.
Did you see? I think it was the director of football, the CEO or something of Inter Milan, saying that he's not gonna just come into the team and be what he was when he left. He's got to prove it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, Lukaku stank up the gaff.
He was bad at Chelsea.
He was last season brought in to bring Chelsea to that Liverpool and City level. He had
one good game and it was against Arsenal.
I mean, I think like what's happened to him, because he like during the World Cup and like every time you see him for Belgium, he's like an anomaly. He's no man that big and strong should be that fast. And that like,
do you reckon he's just been like figured out? Like the Prem teams have figured him out. Like the Prem players are bigger, they're stronger now, and they're just dealing with him.
Yeah, like I wonder if that was similar for like Gareth Bale as well. Like was Bale a bit like, do I actually want to go to the Premier League? Because I know Werner came over.
Yeah,
and Werner said the Premier League is it's like a freak show because every defender's 6'5".
Yeah,
I mean, his first game was against Brighton when he's playing against Dan Burn and Lewis Dunk.
Like, so tall.
Like what?
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's the Premier League is probably the most physical league in the world.
Yeah.
And most intense as well.
And you just got like everyone's
playing a press,
not like juiced up to the brim, but they look like they.
Yeah, man, they're all inhalers, aren't they?
Yeah, come on.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe Lukaku was figured out. He had an absolute stinker of a season. He did have a few injuries, and then he was just like benched. Then he had the whole controversy where he was just chatting shit about Chelsea.
Well, you see, he's number 90 now, and I saw a tweet, and it's like, why is Lukaku number 90? And then someone commented this like because he conned Chelsea out of 90 million, and I was like
maybe that's a conspiracy theory for the next episode.
While we're on
25 goals, sorry, 25 games.
go for it.
25 games, 8 goals, 1 assist, but that is in 1,524 minutes.
It's not good.
It's not a great conversion rate.
No, especially not playing for one of the top three teams.
The top three, the third best team in the league, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it also begs the question, who are Chelsea going to bring in to replace him, because nothing's really worked for them in terms of a striker. Yeah. Which leads to quite nicely into our next little topic.
So the Mirror, they released a top 10 worst signings of the Premier League era. And so we'll quickly put it out there to the fans. Who are your top... Give us your comment below. Give us your top 3 before you hear what the Mirror have said, and then we'll give you our top 3. But number 1, hence why we're talking about him, they put Lukaku back to Chelsea for 97 million as the worst transfer in Premier League history. Where do you stand on that?
I think you've got to look at, like, so somebody like this. One of the players on this list is Andrei Shevchenko. Was it 2006?
Yep.
Yeah, like the inflation rate of football is crazy.
Yeah, so
like,
you've got to take all of
the values with a little bit of like leeway.
Yeah,
97 million is obviously a lot, but Chelsea needed a striker. They needed something to bridge the gap between them and Liverpool and City.
They had just won the Champions League. So
won the Champions League. Lukaku was off a belter of a season at Inter Milan. At the time, it looks like a great... that's what they needed.
Yeah.
I mean...
But that doesn't cancel out the fact that he scored 8 goals in a whole season.
And 1 assist.
And 1 assist and wanted to leave pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
Does that make it for you, or do you...
I think he's on the list.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if... Number 1, I mean, we'll have to look at the other players on the list.
I'll run you through them. But... Another little juicy tidbit about the list, there's obviously 10 people on it. 5 of them are Chelsea signings. That's embarrassing. Obviously, the list is just an opinion, and opinions all differ, blah, blah, blah. But for them to have, according to the Mirror, probably some stinky journalist, so we'll take it with a pinch of salt, for them to have 50% of the worst transfers in the Premier League era is fucking shocking.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of names on there. I think... Like obviously it is debatable. Yeah. Like all of these can be debated.
I'll run you through the top 10.
Do Chelsea like head of their transfers just go on FIFA and just
it's just run by like a couple of 14-year-old kids that have just
getting megged on Ultimate
mode. Yeah,
that's it.
Right, so the top 10: Lukaku to Chelsea, 97 million. Then Angel Di Maria to Man United for 60 million in 2014.
That one I disagree with.
I also disagree with that. But I think also we've got to take into account 60 million 8 years ago is a lot of money.
That's more than... That might be 90 million or maybe more.
That's probably like 100 mil signing now. Third place, the swap deal between Arsenal and Man United for Alexis Sanchez.
With Mkhitaryan.
I think
there's
probably an L for both of them.
Di Maria one.
Yeah.
United at that point were... Like, just they were just going out and buying like just anyone.
Yeah.
And that was a deadline day deal, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was a deadline day deal, and I think they've sort of like forced into that almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, carry on. So we had Alexis Sanchez swap deal.
Yeah,
that stunk. The piano.
That is, I'd say Alexis Sanchez. I think they're lucky that they got him off the books as quick as they did, because he was the highest earner in the Prem while he was there, and he was so bad. Like Lukaku, at least he got 8 goals. I think Sanchez genuinely got like 3. I think 2 years.
We say Lukaku came off that season at Inter Milan on fire. Sanchez came off like 3 seasons at Arsenal on absolute...
He was a different breed.
He was like probably the best player in the Premier League.
Yeah, him and Hazard were tearing up the Premier League.
Who's next?
Well, it's who Arsenal got in to replace Alexis Sanchez.
Nicolas
Pepe for 72 million is the Mirror's 4th worst transfer in the Premier League era. And it's hard to dispute it.
It's got to be up there.
Yeah, it's definitely, I'd say top 5 for me.
Yeah, I mean, because he was, like, I just remember listening to Arsenal fans talk about this guy, and you just know that none of them had ever seen a video.
Watched a couple of YouTube compilations.
Like, you can make any player look brilliant.
That Arsenal fan, by the way.
You can make any player look brilliant in a 3-minute
100%.
YouTube compilation.
The only reason, I'd still say he's definitely a top 10. The only reason I wouldn't say he's top 3
he can still turn it around.
Not even that. He's been here for 3 seasons now, I think. Yeah. He's got over 10 goals every season, which, like, his output, he doesn't play every game. He's had like a couple of, not falling out with the managers, but they just haven't rated him for whatever reason. But he's still, I think, got like 15 goal plus assists for like 3 seasons in a row.
Yeah, contribution.
Yeah, so it's like,
I mean, he's
obviously it's a lot of money,
back, but like very slowly.
Oh yeah, it's not a good transfer, but definitely not the worst.
I think part of what
scored some big goals for Arsenal. He got, for when we won the FA Cup, the first under Arteta, he got the goal against Sheffield United. The goal against Southampton. He got a goal in the semi-final and the assist in the final to beat Chelsea. So he has also participated in some big games and contributed pretty big. But 72 million, I was expecting him to be Arsenal's star man for a couple of seasons.
I think if he comes in for 45 million, everyone's going, that's a big decent bit of business. I think the fact that it was 72 million and it was something weird, like they're paying him like 16 million over the course of 26 years in like 5 million different...
I think another reason is just there was some dodgy agent business going on. 100%. I think whoever, it was like Kia Jabosh and there's some stinky
just some corruption agent or something going on 100%, there.
100%, especially because like the Lille sporting director got like booted out after so there's something dodgy going on. Number 5, Andy Carroll to Liverpool from Newcastle, and this is 10 plus years ago now.
What was that, 35 or 50?
35 million.
Yeah.
Which 10 years ago, that is a lot of money.
Yeah, but Carroll at the time was like, for some, like, he was
it's
just
mad how hard he
was almost like England's, like, he was going to be England's like war horse, leading the charge.
Just every time you'd hoof it up, Andy Carroll bosh ahead.
And he had a good season at Newcastle. Was that under Pardew?
Yeah, I think so.
It must have been.
But 35 million back then is a lot of money.
A lot of money. And
was he? I think then he was the most expensive Englishman transfer ever, and stunk it up. How long did he last there? A year?
I feel like that's the word we're going to use for like 90% of this list. Yeah, they just stunk it up.
They all did stink it up. But yeah, back to Chelsea and their L's. Bakayoko from Monaco.
Yep, not a big L.
5 years ago.
Where are you now?
40 million. So he was in that Monaco team that was stacked. They had Bakayoko. They had. Let's not talk about.
We won't talk about Mendy, but he was.
They had Bernardo Silva, a young, fresh on the scene Mbappe.
That's when he had like
they had
skinhead look,
Oh, they had so many ballers, and they did so well in the Champions League. And then the next season, their team just got shredded to bits.
Martial?
Yeah, maybe actually. I can't remember.
I mean,
maybe
that
was just after. But yeah. So yeah, their team just got absolutely ruined, and Bakayoko was one of the outgoings. Went to Chelsea. 40 million, had a very bad first season there, and then they shipped him off on loan.
Where are you now, mate? Bakayoko, if you're out there, contact us, we'll help you, mate.
In the same window, they had the cheek to sign Danny Drinkwater for 35 million.
That's off the back of Leicester's title winning season.
They thought they were going to have a centre mid of Bakayoko and Danny Drinkwater.
I mean, if you look back on it now, it is laughable. It's laughable.
75 million on 2 players that probably cumulatively played about 10 games.
I think Danny... No, it's not Danny Drinkwater, it's Andy King. He's just signed as Bristol City's like player coach.
He was like a Stonewall at the Leicester team, wasn't he, for ages?
Yeah, Danny Drinkwater. What happened? I mean,
that fall off was hard. I don't think he was that good anyway. I think he just looked good because Kante was carrying.
Yeah, he's just been released by Chelsea.
Yeah.
He did say he
put a post out.
Yeah, it was a really good post to be fair. He took it really well. He was like, it didn't work out the way that I or anyone else hoped it would.
Yeah,
but he doesn't regret it for a minute and stuff like that. I mean, fair play to him.
Yeah, no, I think probably immediately made the move and thought, fuck it, this is probably a level just too high for me.
He probably doesn't even think that. He's probably just like Chelsea come knocking on the door. Leicester, they won the league.
Yeah,
one off. Like that's 1 in a million. Sure, I mean it's absolutely insane. But he probably thought, I mean Mahrez is going to go, Kante's going to go.
I think Kante had gone already at this point.
Yeah, so the team's already getting picked apart. He's thinking, let me get him to a team and see what I can do.
Right, he should have stayed. Bless him.
Who we got next?
Fuck me. So this little stretch. It's Chelsea. So we had Bakayoko, we had Drinkwater. Now it's Andrei Shevchenko back in the day to Chelsea from AC Milan.
He was a menace at AC Milan.
So this was in 2006. So we're talking 15 years ago. Guess how much they paid for him?
35.
30 million.
Oh.
30 million 15 years ago. That's a joke. I think he was one of the most expensive signings ever.
Yeah, he was at the time.
Shevchenko was different gravy in Serie A. Yeah, he was so good. I think he still goes down as one of like the best strikers ever.
Back in the day when Serie A was like the league.
The league, when fucking all
like Kaká,
all the Champions League winners were just in Milan,
just unbelievable.
And he still goes down for me as one of the best strikers ever.
I remember watching like the Serie A highlights on Channel 4, mate. Different. Unbelievable.
But then he came to Chelsea, maybe just a little bit past his prime, and wasn't good enough. But a player who joined Chelsea arguably in his prime,
Fernando Torres
for 50 million.
I love Fernando Torres.
Another
Liverpool Torres with the hairband, mate.
That era of football was just good.
The only thing is,
take me back.
I know Fernando Torres, 50 million is a lot of money for a player who didn't really perform like he was expected to. But he won the Champions League.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
and their first ever Champions League.
Yeah.
So
I mean, perhaps
I'd pay if £72 million Pepe won us the Champions League. I'd immediately write off as like probably best.
Mate, you'd be walking around with a Pepe tattoo.
Come on, Pepe. If you want to stick around, win us the Champions League, I'll get a tattoo of your head on me if we win the Champions League.
But yeah, I agree. I think maybe I just have a bit of a soft spot for Torres.
I like Torres.
Yeah, I don't think
he had a hard time at Chelsea.
I think the pressure of that price tag really got to him.
And he was like the Aguero chat earlier. He was following on from Drogba, and that's not easy.
It's just not easy at all.
When you try and take over a player that the club love, the fans love so much,
it's a disgrace.
It's like Arsenal being there, like trying to find a Thierry Henry replacement. It's hard because you're always compared to this absolute. That is why you keep going back to France, isn't it? World, yeah. It's like you're always compared to arguably the club's favourite player, and unless you're like matching their standard or bettering it, you're just immediately just considered a bit of an L. And I think Fernando Torres was a bit of an L. But
I don't think he was as bad as people.
Probably still on the list though.
I don't know. Maybe not.
I'd have to have a think.
Who we got?
And finally, Paul Pogba back to Man United for 89 million.
I think this one's a tricky one because Paul Pogba is some player. Like on his day, like it's like you know the video. The guy is like on his day, and he's like, better than Zidane. Yeah, better than I mean,
last time we were talking about Neymar, and I was like. He's not underrated, but he's understated, blah, blah, blah. I think Paul Pogba's the same. He gets hate, and I think it's because he's in a shit team, and like the argument is you can still be a good player in a shit team.
I think Graham Souness is living his head rent-free. I think that's the reason.
But for me, Paul Pogba is very good at football. It's just obviously... how much does he want to work?
When he started the season, he got like 8 assists in 4 games or something.
The first game of the season,
he played out left. He's playing left mid, weren't he? Like out wide on the left. Like, and he was just when he was playing, and he was full of confidence, and he was like running.
Confident Pogba is the dream.
There's a reason he still plays for France.
Yeah,
which 100%. Are probably the best team in the world. Do you know what I mean? Like
he runs that. He runs that team, doesn't he?
I mean,
him and centre mid. It's one of those, you get Kante and he just gives him the confidence to be...
I think if Pogba was provided with the correct players around him, could have been the man to really take United to that level.
It could have. It's a shame they didn't invest.
United have been struggling with their transfers for...
They've just not had like a clear...
I mean, David Moyes came in and bought like Marouane Fellaini and all them, man. I mean...
Pogba and Fellaini duo.
They've probably had 2-3 good transfers since then, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Any names that you think should be out on that list? I mean,
for me, I don't want to do Chelsea even more dirt, but Kepa Arrizabalaga.
Yeah.
For, what was it, 70 million for a goalkeeper that is now on the bench?
Yeah.
And it's not even like he was good, he was shit. And then he had a fight with Maurizio Sarri when they wanted to get taken off for the penalties and then didn't get taken off and then they still lost. Yeah. I just think that is a terrible... How can you have a £70 million goalkeeper flop first season and now he's your bench keeper? And that's been swept under the rug.
It has. I mean...
That is so bad.
Mendy is good, though.
Mendy is good, but they should have either sold Kepa or just take the L and keep playing him until he gets good.
Wasn't there a point where...
70 million for a goalkeeper is outrageous.
Who was their backup keeper?
Willy Caballero.
Caballero from City, yeah. And there was points where he was playing ahead of Kepa.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
He signed for Southampton today.
Did he?
Caballero? Yeah.
Southampton signed Bazunu as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's a good signing.
Yeah.
I think Bazunu, I know a lot of Portsmouth fans were raving about him.
Really?
And it's a big step up from League One to the Premier League, but he's been at City for
a while.
A long time.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a player in him. City don't really make mistakes. So, good for Southampton.
But for me, Kepa is the one that I'd add if it was up to me. Any on your mind?
I mean, one that might be a bit controversial at the minute. I mean, if Harry Maguire has a really bad season again, 80 million.
I like that shout. So his first season, is that when they finished second in the league?
Yeah.
So maybe that just kind of boosts his stats. But then he's had such a bad season It's cancelled out how good that was.
This,
so like you said, I think this season is like make or break for him.
Like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he really needs to kick on this season and hope that under Ten Hag, he goes back to the player he was when he was at Leicester in that first season at United.
Because Ten Hag's probably got like a kind of fresh slate for all these players, and it's like, if you don't deliver now, you're fucking off.
Yeah.
They've probably told Ten Hag, the higher-ups at Man United, they're like, you can go in. That's probably why they haven't made any signings yet, because he's probably gone in, you're going to assess everyone they've got on the books and just have like an absolute massacre, because I think like 80% of them are probably not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, United, they're signing, what's his name?
Is it Malabi? The geezer from PSV is the left back.
They're still linked with Anthony and De Jong.
Yeah. I think they'll probably get De Jong over the line.
I think so. Maybe that's what will fund Barca's Rafinha bid.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. It's weird that, like, the domino effect in football, isn't it? Like, one transfer will fund another transfer that...
Bayern signed Gravenberch from Ajax, and it's really weird because...
That's his name.
Because Ajax have this really good ability to take players... And some of them turn out to be amazing. Some of them turn out to be terrible. But in that Ajax team, they all look amazing.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think people are doubting this Gravenberch because he's obviously a young kid, like very, very good footballer. But where does he fit into that Bayern team? Like, is he going to displace Kimmich? But Kimmich's only played 2,000 minutes. He never played more than like 2,000 minutes in the season.
I think it's a good signing. He looks like a future big star in the centre mid.
Yeah, I mean, why don't Chelsea go for Lewandowski? Well, I know he's got his heart set on Barcelona. All these men got their heart sets on Barcelona.
Even if they get like 2 seasons out of Lewandowski, that's
if you get Lewandowski in
for what do they want? I think they want like 45 million for him.
I mean,
Chelsea can piss that money away.
If Chelsea can sign Lewandowski for 45-50 million and he gets 6 goals in the season, they got another name on that list.
That's so true. I mean? Yeah, another Shevchenko.
They're going to be populating that list.
Because you'll get that number 9 top as well, the cursed number 9 top, and just mad fat L.
Yeah, it's a...
Just to round up though, today, the fantasy prices for next season have been announced. Me and Luke are big fantasy boys. We love a bit of fantasy football, so we'll have some fantasy chats.
Fantasy, baby. Yeah, no. But, we love a bit of fantasy football.
Yeah, we'll do probably a more dedicated fantasy little pod down the line.
Maybe we should save that and we'll... just do a little side video.
Yeah, maybe. But
because we're already this podcast's flying, mate. The problem is,
in the team.
When we just get down here, we just start talking football. The time just goes.
Yeah, once I've got a beer in me, I'll fucking just waffle football for hours on end.
Yeah, but I mean,
we'll do a little fantasy one. Get excited for that. We'll give you some tips.
We'll record a little thing about the evaluations and get that out.
Yeah, we'll give you a bit of a rundown on our past fantasy performances.
Roz is excited for that.
I am. I'm actually a little bit gassed about it, but maybe I've set myself up for failure this season.
Yeah, I think we've covered quite a lot today.
It's been good.
It's been a good one.
Hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, so hopefully next week we will have some Premier League preview starting.
Yeah, we want to go through the teams before the season starts, and then
I mean we've literally got like
the season starts.
It's a month. It's a month. Yeah,
it's a month on the 6th. It starts, isn't it? So a month and 5 days.
Yeah, so we've got to get going on that.
Yeah, we do. We'll crank them out. Don't worry, you'll get a lot of content from us in the coming weeks.
It's gonna be flowing. Yeah.
So make sure you follow our socials. We got Twitter,
get on
TikTok is now
live.
It's live.
Get on there for some good stuff. We're gonna be uploading there regularly.
Yeah, YouTube as always. And Spotify and Apple Music if you don't want to.
We go to our Instagram, click on the link tree, and you got all of it. Follow us on all of it because it's just good stuff.
Drop us a DM if you want to collab or just have a chat football, mate. We love chatting football.
Yeah, if you're a fan of any Premier League team or any team really, if you want to come on and talk about what your pre-season predictions are and anything like that, holler at us, get us on Instagram or whatever, Twitter. We'll love to have you on. We'll get it sorted, especially if you run your own little podcast or whatever. We'd love to cross-pollinate our ideas with you.
Cross-pollination.
Cross-pollination.
I said, come on, a couple too many times. Not as many as last time. I will phase it out of my vocab.
We're going to do a TikTok with you just saying, come on.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what I was planning all along.
Maybe. You're playing the long game.
Anyway.
Right.
Good night, ladies and gents.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. It's BoreDraw and it's live.
Thanks.